Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SLR Tier 2. We are here in Canada today, in Montreal, for the next round of the Tier 2 Championship. I'm your host, Lover Lars, and with me, as per usual, is CM Punk.
Good evening, everybody.
And like I said, we're at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, I'm sorry if I butchered the pronunciation there, for the Canadian Grand Prix. And it's a 2.7 mile track, or 4.3 kilometers if you're Roman Catholic. 14 turns, incredibly fast, incredibly flowing, but watch out for the walls. Technically this counts as a street circuit, believe it or not, though many would disagree with that interpretation. And CM, we've got a lot to discuss here, just as it's showing off the tyre compounds, of course, and our usual stats there, but we've got a lot to discuss just before we get into quali. Most notably, of course, we've got a lot of changes in the driver lineup. So I'm not sure if you have the standings in front of you there. We'll get them up for the audience in a second here, but there might be some confusion whenever I bring these up.
Yeah, absolutely, because Alpine had a bit of a switcheroo, and now after an Alpine driver, Nico, has been promoted up into Tier 1, we're going to have some shifts in the team. This might cause a bit of confusion when it comes to points per team and per driver, but nonetheless, the most important information is that Nico has been moved into Tier 1. This is why Alpine has so many points while their drivers don't have that much. We hope that this is going to clear out any kind of confusion about the French team.
Indeed, just looking at the driver signs there real quick. So actually all the excitement I had last week about the Alpine crashing out was warranted, because what it means is that the Drivers' Championship is wide open again. You can see the stats there. So Curia is actually in the lead of the Drivers' Championship with 30 points. Verch now moves up to second, tied on points, but because Curia has more wins, they're the de facto leader. X Crystals, who only joined last week, is now third in the championship with 25. Smelter on 18, Lepson on 15, Larson on 12, Ocean Chief on 8, Basco on 6, Magnetic and Futuristic on 4 apiece. So the championship are really close now. But as we were saying, the way it works is that all drivers, whichever team they drive for at any point in the season, will contribute their points to the constructors. So Alpine, despite only having 55 points total in the Drivers' Championship, actually sit on 105 in the constructors, well clear of Red Bull's 30. So the constructors is a little bit of a foregone conclusion at the moment, but still early days. There may be a chance for some changes there. And speaking of changes, that looks like the weather has changed since last week. It is bucketing down in qualifying today.
Yeah, it's absolutely soaking right now here at the streets in Canada. I believe it is in Montreal, so absolutely soaked track we're having right now. Most of the drivers are heading out onto the track on fully wet tires. The only one brave enough, or question mark stupid enough, to go on to intermediates are so far Lay of My Soul, Everett Snacks, and Keyboard Magnussen. I'm watching that Lay of My Soul, and he's absolutely struggling, to say the least, right now.
I was about to say, he near reverse entry drifted into the wall there. We're gonna watch here. Can we get maybe a bit of Swan Lake playing in the background while he comes around here?
There's absolutely not the weather for intermediate tires. I mean, this must be some kind of experiment from those drivers, but surely this is one to be doomed to failure. You're just gonna have to switch to full wets immediately and then try something new, unless weather conditions might be getting improving, but so far at this point in time, this is 100% full wet tire situation going on.
I mean, this is how you know that... there he goes. This is how you know the F1 game is unrealistic, because the wet tires actually have a purpose in this game as opposed to real life. Oh dear! Lay off my salt and gets in front of one of the Red Bulls. That will be Verchi. And they're sort of dicing for position on track at the moment, as we get a 1:23.2 the first time on the board from Smelto. Much slower, obviously, than the dry running times. And dear love him, Lay Off My Salt is actually going to go for it. Let's watch him a bit here. But just while he's on his way around, just to clarify the other driver changes there for anyone who's watching. So now this is obviously based off their Discord names, but basically both Ferrari drivers have stepped down from their Ferrari seats. So the two Ferraris... Oh no, sorry, I apologize, that's for Tier 1. Hold on. We seem to have a bit of confusion here. Because Crawley Voice is in the Ferrari at the minute. Apparently he's meant to be up in Tier 1.
Maybe he's just visiting here as a guest.
Yeah, it could be, I suppose. I mean, we'll confirm with the ones in charge, but he was meant to move up with Nikau, who has moved up to Tier 1. The empty Alpine seat goes to, based on their Steam name, I don't think they've actually shown up today, ironically. Oh, no, they have. Wait. RCC Fedevara, which I can only assume is what X-Crystal's name is on Discord.
Pretty sure it's Crystals. Yeah,
yep.
pretty sure it's
And Piggy has gone to the Aston Martin seat. He's currently sitting P6 at the minute. The rest, there are apparently some seats free, so we do have some reserves in the on the grid today.
You look at Eversnax in intermediates, 124.5, sitting above a couple of drivers on intermediates. I know it's not a time close to a pole, but the fact you can beat someone on those tires is insane to me right now.
Could have been some errors from Piggy and Magnetic there, possibly, or maybe they... Of course, we don't know the conditions for the race. If it's a dry race, then, you know, we should explain to the viewers in case they don't know. F1 has a system what's known as parc fermé. It's French for closed park. Basically means that once you have confirmed your setup, outside of a few small things like tire pressures and front wing, the setup is locked. So you have to think more about what you want to do in the race. And if it's a dry race, well, there's no point setting the car up for a wet qualification session because you will be slow as anything on the track in the race. So if it's a dry race, it would maybe you know, Piggy is just struggling with running a dry setup on a wet track. So I mean, we had that last week when I was racing in AOR at Spa-Francorchamps. We had a dry race, but a wet quali, and everyone was sliding everywhere. It was actually kind of insane. It felt like, the way I can just, it felt like driving, I wouldn't even say driving on ice, it felt like driving in mud. You're grippy for a lot of it, and then all of a sudden you just go, whoops-a-daisy. So, I mean, credit to these guys if they are running a dry setup. This is incredibly tricky to do. But the times are coming down. We're into the 122s now. Now that either means drivers are finding their feet, which is possible, or the track is slowly getting drier.
Could be the case. McLaren boys have heavily improved since their last laps, but then again, the top boys are so far McLaren, Virgin, Crystals, so you can say they are some favorites up there in top. We're still waiting for some times of some big dogs like a Gamer to improve, because so far this time does not represent his actual pace, at least in dry conditions. Maybe he's not that good in the rain. As I'm watching Lay Off My Salt heading into the wall, and he's right now leaving it without the front wing. It's going to be left there, so that means he's going to have to make an extra pit stop again. And with only 10 minutes remaining, he doesn't have a front wing or a time set on the board. Not the decision to remember for him, as he DNFs.
And he DNFs. Yeah, went too fast without the front wing. I was going to change him there, but I can't change him once he's DNF'd. Speaking of drivers without a time on the board, Gerla, watching here, is about to start their next lap, and they actually invalidated the first run. So, Gerla has not. I mean, I remember we were all singing Gerla's praises, and obviously they are a great driver still. But I feel like we're getting a bit of a Perez situation here, where they've started out strong, but DNF'd in Belgium last time out when they're leading the championship, and now they haven't even been able to say a time yet. Granted, it's wet conditions, but they're battling their teammate for, you know, the lead of the championship. Crystal's in P6 at the minute, but also, you know, battling other drivers around, like Virtue's in 5th. Even the likes of Smelto, who is on provisional pole at the minute. So, I mean, could well be an honest mistake, but Gerla really needs to get their finger out and get their mindset back on this championship fight.
Yeah, don't worry, still got plenty of time. He will most likely...
Larson rejoining there, a couple of technical difficulties for him from the looks of it.
Yeah, we're still waiting for some times to pop on the board and for some drivers to improve their mistakes. As of right now, Smelto is still untouched on the top, but Hallinan, the Williams driver, has now shifted up into provisional front row. Crowley Boys have shifted highly up into P4 ahead of the Red Bull driver Verge, one of the two championship leaders alongside Gurla. So there's some couple of changings and shifts we're looking at right now while we
Gurla
wait
coming
for
round.
Ocean Chief Gurla.
Gurla coming round to set a time now. Noticed how they were going offline quite a bit. I think the track is getting drier a little bit. Oh, that's not a brilliant time. A 126.6 from Gurla.
It's a very easy way of saying that it was an absolutely horrible lap.
Well, I don't like to be mean, you know. I don't want to be mean. Meanwhile, their teammate goes to pole with a 21.6.
Yeah. Now, this either means conditions are getting better and Gurla is still struggling, or that the drivers are focusing, locking in. Basco hits another
on
best
pole,
time.
Yep. I mean, surely they can't be running that much of a wet setup, surely. I mean, I know Gurla, I believe Gurla does like to run low downforce, but surely there was a mistake on that lap. Surely even the downforce changes are not worth, I mean, what's that, a 5-second gap to pole? That's insane.
The chat is saying that I am not only echoing, but now I'm also low on the volume. Come on.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys, like...
I can scream into the mic, but I can't.
I could maybe turn them up on Discord, but I don't want to deafen your eardrums and lower the audio quality. I don't know what this is.
I'm gonna do too much. I'm gonna try to be a bit more louder, but then again, we'll see.
Let me try. If I turn down my overall volume, I don't know whether you're coming out through my speakers or not. Apologies, chat. Never had this problem before when I've been commentating, so I don't know what this is.
Yeah, we'll figure it out eventually.
As Gurla finally does
is.
write that wrong, a 21-2. Now we're cooking. Now we are cooking.
Perez no more, finally, sitting in the front again. 7 minutes remaining, could be some huge improvements coming up, but Gurla is surely trying to improve himself from the bottom spot. And then only 2 drivers remain without a time, Ocean Chief and Riyad Yamakovic.
See, what this is showing to me is how long it takes to warm up the tires. As Crawley Voice, oh, thank God, I thought he was going out on that. It actually shows their tire compounds changing as they go in the garage. Crawley Voice very briefly popping up on soft there. He's taking the gamble to go to inters. But what I'm noticing is, I mean, you look at the times on the board there. Gurla was 4 laps on the wets. Basco and Smelto 5. Crystal's 4. It seems that the wets take a very long time to warm up, which says to me that maybe it is trending towards inter conditions. You know, if the wets aren't... If it's not wet enough for wets, then they will struggle. So,
yeah, Magnussen is right now on intermediates.
Crystals is now on the inters, or is looking at the inters anyway.
Yeah, but Keyboard is on the track.
Basco is on the inters. Yep, they're switching to inters for the final couple of runs.
Yeah, the conditions must be getting better as Keyboard Magnussen is rounding up on intermediates. So let's see what time is he going to put on the board from P15 at the moment. As he crosses the finish line and the Kick Sauber driver goes P12. Couple of positions of improvement. Not too much, but not small enough to call it. Conditions are
I mean, let's be real. He's playing on keyboard, which is achievement enough in itself. Keyboard in the wet, I think that's borderline suicidal, but he's making it work as Keyboard Magnussen. Absolute legend that he is. So if you actually watch, you can sort of see on board like how twitchy his steering input is. That is, he is on keyboard. And I should point, this is breaking the developer's intention, because yes, you can play on keyboard, obviously, but it says basically on the Steam launch page, you need a controller for this. Keyboard Magnussen took one look at it and said, "Alright, bet." And look at him going. He's driving around with a keyboard.
Said, no, I don't think so. And he's absolutely.
I don't need that. No, miss me with that.
Yeah,
who else is out on inters? Delta's on the night lap.
Gurla, Basco, Smelt, everybody from the top switching to intermediates. Crystals on intermediates.
They're all coming out now.
Conditions getting better. Yep.
And they're coming out with 5 minutes to go, which I would assume means what they're going to do is go out for a couple of laps in a row, rather than trying to, you know, just go for a one-shot wonder. Obviously thinking we do need some time to get these inters up to temperature. So these guys are probably not going to be back in the garage until the end of the session. So it's interesting where they all are on track as well. Crystals is right behind Smelto, and they'll not want to do each other any favors. Basco has a bit more of a gap. Gurla is just starting their out lap, so I'm trying to figure out who's first across the line here. That's Ocean Chief on. He's still on the wets, and it looks like he will be trying to set a time, I think. He is trying to set a time. He's coming up to traffic in the form of the Haas of Delta, though, and Delta just diving out of the way. So let's see. This will give us an idea of how competitive the wets still are. And Ocean Chief coming to the line, and they're not really improving. He does improve actually by about 8 tenths, but he's slower than Keyboard Magnussen on the inters.
Yeah, but this could be Magnussen's mistake. I'm looking at the top, and everybody from the top except for Futuristic and Verge are switching to intermediates right now. So this must be the signal for the rest of the grid that, hey, this is the moment. Intermediates are on fire right now. Go ahead and switch into them, because
Basco has just started his lap. We'll keep an eye on him. The back's still stepping out on him there, or wanting to step out, so maybe quicker, but it's still not ideal. Maybe you just gain a bit more time on the straights than you do in the corner. Ooh, brushing the wall. I think we're at the borderline point here. If you can tame I mean, he is quicker, but there's no denying how tricky it is. If you can tame the intermediates, brilliant. But you can see him squirreling about everywhere. The grip from the tires is helping him, but it's so hard to control.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to take that risk if he wants to beat Gurla. So far, sitting at the provisional pole position, so Basco just has to take that risk. McLaren boys do have the pace tonight. They just need to transition it into a good, decent enough position on the starting grid for the Grand Prix, and I'm pretty sure they will put up a fight. Gurla also trying to improve, and he does improve heavily. He goes fastest in the first sector, purple one, for the Alpine driver, so this could be a great lap for him.
I'm still watching Basco here, so he's coming up to the Wall of Champions now, and we'll see what the representative time on the Inters looks like. Best before was a 121.2. Basco did a 121.4. He comes across the line with a 120.1. His teammate Smelto a 120.1 as well, only 3 thousandths off. Crystal's a 120.3. Gurla will be next and is a second 1.3 up apparently.
Yeah, Gurla's looking very strong right now on the intermediates. Could be a charge for provisional pole position.
1.3 would put them in the 119s if they've nailed it.
And
it is the 119s.
Like beautiful. 119.5, so that is a huge improvement over the rest of the boys right now. McLaren's being pushed down the card a bit. We've got, interestingly, Verge is on the track on wets, and they're not fresh ones as well. Interesting choice from the Red Bull driver.
Well,
it's a game glitch.
Well, let's see what happens here. It's been never talk. Everyone's coming out for their final runs now if they haven't already. I'm wondering just though, based on experience and what other drivers are saying, track evolution on this year's game is mental. So even now, we could still see the times dropping by quite a bit. We've got yellows in Sector 2. That looks like... Is that a Sauber traveling slowly? They've recovered now, it seems. But let's keep an eye on Verch, because he is on the wets. He's in Sector 2. We'll try and keep an eye on his sector times. We've got more yellows. They're all bottlenecking up here on the final sector. Sector 3 really is just the long straight in the Wall of Champions. Verch is 9/10ths up on his previous time. So the wets do still seem to be doing a pretty decent job if you can make them work. Maybe he's running an incredibly low downforce setup and needs the grip from the wets to counteract. It's interesting to watch. He's coming up now. 9/10ths would put him... Well, it wouldn't be the fastest. It would be a 20.7 roughly. If he unless he improves further beyond. 20.4. So that's good enough for P6 on the west. That's not bad. Who else is still going around on a timer? Eversnaxolotl actually snuck up the order there on a 119.6. Gurla is still undisputed and doesn't seem to be pushing. Basco is pushing. He's 2/10ths up on his previous time, which is not going to be enough for pole, but it will get him into the 119s if he keeps it clean. Smelto also appears to be on a run round. Crystals is 7/10ths up. So third, fourth, and fifth are going on another run. This will be it for them. This is their last chance. Through past the Wall of Champions. Does the extra lap of heating give them the pace they need? Does it? It does! Basco gets 18.9. And a broken front wing by the AI for his troubles. Yeah. Smelto also does. So, like I said, track evolution. It's cost Gurla.
Gurla's coming to final sectors about to be
wrapped Gurla was on the lap, okay.
Is he? I think he is.
I thought he was going slow. I saw +9 on the Delta, but that could just be a glitch again.
Let's see it across the finish line.
Could he do it? Oh, it's P2! Splits the McLarens. Look at the top four. They're all covered by, what, 3/10ths? So Alpine and McLaren, what a battle we have in prospect here, ladies and gentlemen. Eversnaxolotl.
Flying lap. Can he somehow improve up there to get into the top four?
Funanana, Sorry, Funanana there, up to P6 in the Sauber. Well done to them. Crawley Voice only, despite supposedly being promoted, only able to get P8. That's a bit surprising. Verch down to P9. I think he'll regret not going out on the Inters, to be honest. But it was his choice. He obviously wanted to play it a bit more safe. But there you go. Basco on pole, Gurla second, Smelto third, Eversnaxolotl fourth. So he's actually, Eversnaxolotl was on another run. He's going up to P4. Crystal's down to fifth. Is there anyone else on the lap, or is we just waiting for cars in the garage?
Pretty sure in the garage because everybody is wrapped up with their laps. So once Verti and Halinan will set themselves in the garage, there we go. The qualifying is now wrapped up and set. And we know all the answers for the wet qualifying. Now the question number one is how are the conditions going to be on the race? Because we know Bascos and Paul in those wet conditions and Gurla on the front row are going to keep their lead after the first laps, and what conditions are going to be in the race we're about to find out in a couple of moments.
Yep, by 20 seconds we'll be ready to go. So yep, Basco on pole, Gurla second, Smelto third, Snaxel fourth, Crystals fifth, Fananana sixth, Futuristic 7th, Crawley Voice 8th, Vert 9th, Wesley 10th. The rest of your positions outside the top 10. Keyboard, Piggy, Delta, Magnetic, Verti, AR Gamer, Halanan, Ocean Chief, Lay Off My Salt, and however you say that guy's name at the bottom because I cannot pronounce that.
Yeah, I'm gonna help.
Braver men than me have tried. Just looking at the team radios, anyone saying anything?
It is dry for the first moment that we're seeing the track right now, so it's gonna be a dry start for sure. Whether the conditions are gonna get better or worse, I mean, you can't get better than that, but worse than that, well, we're gonna find out in the race. But the start is surely gonna be dry.
So, sorry, apologies there. Apparently, the guy at the bottom there, Riyad Yamakovic, is saying that he needs to drop out. Apparently he is...
Ooh.
I don't know if he replaced Larson. We saw Larson join midway through.
Yeah.
Riyad is atting Larson in the chat, so... And Halanan has left the session. We've got people leaving the session. Yes, he was a reserve, and yes,
Crystals also left the session. Why is that going on?
I think we're getting word here that there's a lobby restart.
Yeah, most likely.
To fix the driver lineup. Yep, driver restart.
Geez.
Lobby restart.
Okay.
So we'll just go to a little intermission here. There we go.
Right.
Apologies, folks. It does happen from time to time. So. Yep, everyone leaving the session. So we'll get a quick little restart here. They will start in their qualifying grid slots, and weather will be the same as what it was set to before.
Yeah.
So just bear with us for a few minutes and we'll get the thing set up again.
Yeah, the weather's gonna most likely be the same as it was before the race start, because we did saw a glimpse of the fact that it's gonna be a dry start for the race. Again, we don't know what could have been later on. Is there gonna be any chance for rain? But still, the beginning of the race should be dry, just like in the first attempt. So that would mean a couple of things for drivers who decided to go for wet setup on the qualifying session. And then again, you could arguably right now change your setup. So if somebody went for wet setup, they just got gifted a huge chunk of pace that they can, just switch your setup into a dry one right now. Interesting.
I am going to restart my game while I have a chance. Hold on, because it's just messing me about a little bit here. Can you let me know when lobby's up and I'll join off of you?
I'll try to keep that in mind. The lobby should be up already. Ocean Chief, let's join him. Is this the new lobby already? Should be. Yep, the lobby is ready in Ocean Chief.
Right, I will... Right, let's get it started in here. Okay. So, just bear with us, folks, if you don't mind. Okay. Now, why am I getting pinged? What is going on here? Okay. Do we have an update on when we'll restart here at LCM? Can you see anything?
Not at the moment. We do have 18 drivers in the lobby, so we should be get going in a moment. We're closer than further away to a restart, but then again, we're not ready just about yet. Should be a couple of minutes.
That's okay. No worries. Just while we're waiting then, I suppose, your predictions for the race, if any?
Well, it's gonna be tough to call predictions when we had a wet session. Definitely a lot of names in the top that we don't usually see closer to a top. We usually see them closer to a midfield, but this could mean for an interesting race. Surely McLaren boys are showing the pace almost the entire season so far, so Basco and Smelto, who are starting close to a top, could be potentially one of the most dangerous team today here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Then again, we can't count out the boys who are right there at the top. Other than McLaren, some Alpines, could be Eversnacks from Haas. But then again, McLaren boys have been doing wonderful so far this season, and we cannot ignore how much quality they have given to this tier so far with their riding and both team plays. So, in my opinion, Basco and Smelto have a strong chance of cooperating well and potentially going for the win in this race. And what about you?
As you said, it's quite hard to predict, but I mean, the boring answer is to say Girl is going to win based on that lap that they put in, and just the massive improvements they had there. But I think it's going to be. I am going to put my money on Basco for the win.
Okay.
I think Basco. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to say it's going to be a McLaren 1-2.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, watch as I have commentators curse them and presumably stop them from getting that.
Could be the case. Let's hope not. We don't wish bad upon anybody. Okay, we got 20 drivers in the lobbies, so we should be get going in about a moment. Do we have any information about when the restart is planned? Let me check that real quick.
No information as of yet. Most people are just memeing on the chat. Not the YouTube chat, you understand?
No info so far. And probably the grid is being set up right now because this is gonna take a bit of time to properly set up the entire grid for the race. Surely it's gonna take some time.
My graphics card, please calm down. I don't know what it's doing that for.
So far this season, almost every race had at least one kind of technical difficulty, whether it's due to us, whether it's due to our setups, or whether it's due to EA being EA. There are a couple of examples, like for example, safety car that shouldn't be a safety car but was a safety car. Now we have this one going on, so always.
If in doubt, blame Cody's.
Have Mike. Ah, come on! I'm gonna blame them as much as I can. What are they gonna do? Sue me? There are 10 people watching the streams. If one of them is a Codemaster CEO and I'm gonna get sued, then tomorrow I'm gonna just go to the nearest possible gambling booth and just gonna spend my entire money, because to be that lucky would be insane.
Yep.
And 30 seconds to go, so it looks like we're going to be going with the race any time now, as the Canadian Grand Prix is about to go underway. Then again, let's keep it in mind that the qualifying is done, the results are sealed, and we will be heading out from the results from the qualifying that we had a couple of minutes ago. The grid is going to be a custom one, so we're going to go out as planned with the positions that everybody took in the qualifying session. Then again, it was supposed to be a dry start in the session before that, so hopefully gonna be about the same right now, and we're gonna find it out in a couple of moments.
Indeed, we're just on waiting for them all to load in, and then we will cut back to the live feed for you guys. So that actually got set up a lot quicker than I thought it would, to be honest. There's sometimes I've been waiting for a race to start and we've had to wait 15-20 minutes. So well done to the hosts there for getting everything sorted, including some driver swaps. Just waiting on 3 more, 2 more, 1 more.
And our gamers keeping us waiting.
I told you that Ferrari was a potato. Come on, lad.
If that interconnection is going to represent his race pace, he's going to be finishing like Tsunoda 60 positions behind everybody.
Mate, he'll be finishing back in back in Spa. Or wherever it was we were last week. Hungary, sorry. He'll be finishing back in Hungary. Was it Hungary? I can't remember. And AR Gamer has left the session. So he obviously had some connection problems. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us in a little bit. As we cut back to... Do we have a live feed? Yes, we do. We do have live feed. Good. Right, we're back.
A dry start. We're going to have a dry start just like we predicted. So it's going to be... getaway again. Some drivers who went for a risk and decided to go for a wet setup during the qualifying session will now be rewarded with the possibility of changing their setup back into a dry one. So anybody who took the risk has now paid off. I wonder if anybody has done this kind of switch, but even if they didn't, it's all gonna go down to the wire right here. And
I don't know if we are starting yet. Sorry, because I'm noticing
probably some setups, being changed.
I'm noticing a big empty grid spot potentially there. I wonder if that's where AR Gamer was meant to be, although there's a ghosted car as well.
Could be.
But looking at the chat, we have a 34% chance of some form of rain or another, and it looks like we are getting underway here. That's going to be a formation lap, is it?
There wasn't any.
Nope, we're underway, sorry.
Getaway.
So it's Basco with a wheel spin off the start line. Gurla immediately taking advantage, but will have to go around the outside and try and brave it out. That becomes the inside line for turn 2, but Basco is well enough ahead. Smelto trying to hold his position. Eversnack's all holding off Crystals. They all seem to be as they were mostly. Crystals, though, trying to take advantage and get ahead. Eversnack's all dips a wheel on the grass and goes off the track and accidentally makes contact with Smelto as well. Somehow keeps out of the wall. Very well done there. But now he comes under pressure from Wirtz in the Red Bull. Gosh, that was all a bit chaotic. I noticed Crystal's got a wheel on the grass on the outside, and that was just enough to unsell the car. Keyboard Magnussen is up through the places. He's up to P7. But up at the front, it's as they were. Basco from Gurla from Smelto. But now it's Snaxalotl in P4. Fananana in 5th. Crystal's now down to 6th. And under pressure from the other Sauber of Keyboard Magnussen. Now I can catch my breath a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I know this one. Eversnacks is still trying to push hard on the back of Smelto, trying to find himself enough pace to possibly make an overtake on the McLaren of one of the 2 McLaren boys, as Basco is trying to pull away from Goodle. Eversnacks doesn't have enough pace right now. In the meantime, Funa is trying to dive on the inside of Haas. He's going to back it up though for now. And in the midfield, there's an interesting fight going on as we had a bit of moments. And Eversnacks
lolls out.
And the wall of
in the wall. Oh no!
And it's a virtual safety car as the Wall of Champion picks up his first victim, and that's Eversnax with a great qualifying session, promising start after some harsh moments, and now he's out of the race completely. Virtual safety car has been deployed, and Basco is still leading us from this one, and one driver less in this Grand Prix here in Canada.
Technically two. AR Gamer did start, but they're still under AI at the minute. They can rejoin. I'm surprised they're handling that under virtual safety car, considering where the car is. You thought the game would register as a full safety car, but virtual means there is no actual safety car. They have to follow a set delta, and it'll switch itself off after the incident has been cleared. It's actually one to watch out for. We may see a penalty or two popping up here. If they're not careful, it's very easy to miss safety car. But Funanana up 2 places. Keyboard Magnuson, the big winner offline, up 5. AR Gamer, technically the biggest loser. He's down 3, but he never really started the race. Futuristic, therefore, the biggest loser after that, as there's some positions changing there, as somehow Riyad Yamakovic has spun it under VSC as they get going again. We are back under green flag conditions now. No penalties. Just looking at the tyres, everyone on the mediums except for Magnetic on the softs and Riyad on the hards.
Our gamer's back, let's go!
As Fanana boxes.
Yeah, must be some kind of damage.
Do they have damage or?
Yes,
they do have damage.
So definitely. So is Riyad Yamakovic. So there are 2 pit stops early on. As we keep on going, the top 3 are trying to pull away from Crystals, who's trying to stick up with them. Keyboard Magnuson is creating a bit of train behind him as he's followed by Verge, Holy Voice, Futuristic, and Delta Zeron in a long DRS line, as the Haas driver is now looking for a possible overtake up into P8, but doesn't have enough pace out of the corner. He's going to have to keep his head down for a while, but there could be some overtakes coming up in the near future in that midfield, as the top boys are most likely just going to try to avoid each other, stay out of each other's bad side, just try to follow one another down to the finish line, at least until safety car or possible pit stop.
And as you said, I mean, Keyboard Magnuson, he's comfortable enough with the keyboard, but I don't know if it's set up or whatever it is, as we see a move potentially for Lee Gurla going to the inside and takes the lead away from Basco. That was actually easy as you like. He knew not to fight that one going into towards the Wall of Champions, as Crystal's now sets the fastest lap of the race. So the top 4 pulling away from Keyboard Magnuson and virtually thinking, look, I'm in with a chance of the championship here. I need to get past this guy, because Keyboard is already outside of DRS range. So, but these, I mean, I said what a prospect of a battle we have here is Delta. We've got yellows, AR Gamer.
AR Gamer has DNF'd from the race. This time he's not quitting entirely. I mean, he's going
I think
that is a DNF.
I think that's going to be a penalty heading AR Gamer's way as well, because the AI is still driving around. The rule is normally you're meant to retire in the pit lane. Obviously, if you crash, your car is stationary, you can't move. But retiring on track has a nasty tendency to bring out a safety car and can ruin other drivers' races. So I think AR Gamer might get into trouble with the stewards for that one.
Yeah, I do.
No safety car this time, though, and the top 4 begin their battle once again as the DRS train lane continues. And this is the problem with the DRS, is when everyone has it, no one really gets an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. The only driver without the DRS in the train is under pressure, as we right now are looking at the fight. There's in the same time we have a fight in the midfield where Crowley Voices just overtook Verge from Red Bull. Maybe now he will take a fight against Keyboard Magnuson, because the Red Bull driver couldn't overtake the Kick Sauber car so far, so maybe a Ferrari can do, as he's followed by a huge chunk of people and is still looking for a possible overtake. Keyboard Magnuson, who is still somehow defending his position without having a DRS, while everybody behind him does have a DRS. And it's worth mentioning, because we kind of missed it, that Delta Zeron has picked up the first penalty of this race after leaving the track too many times.
He's done that in only, well, we got a last lap, so he did in only 4 laps as well. Not a record, but certainly not an honour you want to be having. Just try and watch the onboards here. I'm not sure, Smelter's not really making any moves on Basco. It's almost more like he's acting as a rear guard action for Crystals here, who has a decent run. They're all fairly high on ERS, except for Basco. Basco's actually down at 25%. So Basco has been attacking and is unable to find a way through. So, is this going to be maybe a case of agreed upon team orders? No, Basco does make a move. He actually loses the rear, and oh goodness, what? No, that was Smelto
Oh,
losing the
Keyboard
rear.
Magnussen.
It was
Keyboard
Smelto who
Magnussen
lost the rear.
cutting the corner immediately, and Magnussen, after cutting the corner, remains at P4, actually gaining a lot of momentum towards the drivers. Looking behind Magnussen, what's going on? Smelto now pushing against Crowley Voice, who is going rowdy outside, is going to defend his position so far, and now Verge down to P7, and he's going to want to fight this one back as well. In the meantime, Ocean Chief has also picked up a penalty, while Keyboard Magnussen just got one straight away after cutting the corner entirely. He cut the corner near the wall of champions.
It's interesting that they actually gave him the 3-second penalty, because that's for track limits. You would have thought it would have said, you know, given you the timer and said, oh, you've got to give that position back, but apparently not. Vert losing out to Futuristic as well.
Gain a position, this might just give you
Vert is dropping. Vert is dropping like a stone. Delta is all over the back of him now as well.
What's wrong with the Red Bull driver? He's down to P8, and Delta Zerum is also looking a bit faster right now, so something must be going on with the Red Bull driver. Could be potential damage or just a moment of confusion.
I'm just trying to figure out what actually happened there. So, in second place at the time was it Smelto was second at the time as Gurla reclaims the lead. And Crystals as well, a double overtake. Both Alpines now clear. So it was...
Smelto made a mistake, and at the same time Keyboard Magnussen cut the corner, so they kind of like meet each other at the wall of champions, despite one going down from top to bottom and the other one going from the bottom to the top.
I don't know whether there'll be a case for him to get that penalty removed then, because was that cutting across the chicane in response to avoiding a car that was spinning out?
No idea, because I missed that, but surely FA is gonna have to look into this, so yeah, we'll just let them handle it.
Yeah, because I believe Smelto sort of... I thought it was like contact between the two cars, but it looks like Smelto sort of lost it all by himself. I think he got up on the sausage curb and sort of lost the rear in trying to make the move. Basco then took advantage of the chaos and made it through, but he just doesn't have the ERS to manage it with this pace. So now we've got an Alpine 1-2, and my prediction appears to be coming badly wrong so far for the McLarens. I can only apologise for cursing them. Verch, meanwhile, Yellow's Futuristic is on the grass. That's a very odd place to have it, and he spun up, and does he touch the wall? He does very lightly. He might get away with that. Too overeager on the throttle.
He probably went too much on the inside, must have clipped the curb just a bit, took his entire front, and probably took him for a ride there. Keyboard Magnussen, we have to give him credit though, despite picking up this penalty, he actually managed to get close enough to the top 3 to get DRS, and he's still following them for a couple of past laps. He's still following the top 3 boys in the DRS train. Of course, with that penalty, it's not going to be an easy one for him, but the chance is that it might be deleted, so Keyboard Magnussen has to push all the way through, and he did gain quite significant amount of distance. We have yellow flags in the back.
That is magnetic.
Ooh, Aston Martin of Ocean Chief was lucky that Magnetic was a ghost for just a second longer. This could have been a bad...
And Smelto's gone!
Out of the race. Oh my goodness, upside down. What?
Oh my gosh, how has he managed that?
How do you do that?
The front right wheel is off. But that McLaren is upside down. He's hanging there like a cow.
Oh my goodness, it's gone. How do you flip a car?
Full safety car, understandably. What on earth?
Flag. The guy went flying on his head first. What on earth happened?
I want an onboard of that. Like, I want Smelto to give us an onboard of that. That's incredible.
Jesus Christ. Surely he...
language, this is a kid-friendly stream.
Jesus, I mean...
Language.
How do you flip the whole car inside out on top of his head on the straight?
Yes, but toss. Terms of service, toss. As Gurla pits, everyone bidding except for Keyboard Magnussen. But of course, Keyboard Magnussen, the wily fox, what did he do at the start? He started... Oh no, he did go on the medium. Sorry, my bad. I thought he was on the hards. No, that's Fontanana I'm thinking of. My apologies. Yeah. So Keyboard actually going on a bit longer.
And so is Piggy. Piggy is also staying out on his old
Piggy...
going up into P2.
Everyone else seems to be pitting, mostly. All going to the hards, it seems. Yep, everyone's switching to hards.
And Damon said, there goes the 1-2. I mean, yeah.
I know I curse them, alright? Shut up.
Yeah, the curse is real.
The curse is real. Commentator's curse. But, Smelto, please send us that onboard. I have never seen in this game a car going upside down. I mean, he must have... The only thing I can think of is he touched the curb at high speed and just hit the wall at such an angle that it flipped the car over. Because, although he was a fair enough all way down the main straight as well, wasn't he, by the time his car came to rest, so a very unusual accident, but...
Yeah, maybe it was like pushed against the wall that caused him to flip, but I think we would have saw this one, and we just totally missed it. It was like he just spun, head into the wall and then flip. I mean,
I mean, we weren't expecting it, so...
yeah, I mean, how do you expect something like that? No way.
Oh,
What a
some
weird
people... Do you
accident.
know what? AR Gamer saying he blames the lobby restart for the DNF because it's felt the best of men. He forgot to put his setup on.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, happens. Again, if you just forgot, you're just gonna have to keep this one in mind, and then again, remember about this one. I mean, anything can happen in a league race. Sometimes lobby restarts are required, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something we've all done before. You get such into such a mindset because you're so used to the setup carrying over from qualifying. As Bert Mylander should get a penalty for cutting the corner there. I saw that. But, you know, and then you just hit the OK button once you've done your strategy and you realize, crap, I forgot to put my setup on. I'm now driving with a default, which is not where you want to be.
Surely. I'm wondering about the strategy of Keyboard Magnussen and Piggy, because right now they're the only ones from the top on the old mediums. So what do you do from here? Just pray to gods for another safety car and then get a free switch onto better fresh compound? Or you just try to go until like lap, what, 20, 15 and then just switch for a different tire?
I think... I don't know about Piggy, but I think for Keyboard Magnussen, it's more a case of F it we ball. Because... He knows he doesn't have the pace to match the front runners. He just doesn't have the pace around here. He was keeping up with them, but that was more because they were sort of slowing each other up. I think his plan is just, I'll stay out in front, take the tires as long as I can, hold positions where I can, and see where we all come out at the end. He's got nothing to lose because, you know, he knew that he wasn't a match for those front runners and actually had a bit of a train forming behind him when they were all on the same rubber, when they're on the same strategy, so he might as well try a counter strategy. Piggy, I'm not too sure about, as he has gone to a ghost mode. Nope, he's back.
Oh.
Nope, he's off.
It's blinking a bit, you know.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Cruising.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Back with us. So,
Da-na-na-na-na.
Keyboard
Ghostbusters!
Magnussen will be restarting the Grand Prix here in Canada right this lap, at the beginning of this lap, as he's the race leader so far under the safety car. So let's see how is he gonna do it.
I think Piggy's ghosting because the AI is afraid that he's going to smash into the back of Keyboard Magnussen, who's going very slowly, 50 miles an hour, down that back straight.
Yeah,
I mean, he's allowed
60
to.
kilometers per hour is a minimum, so we can
He's
still
gone,
go
he's
slow, and there he
bolted.
goes. Oh, that was a
Oh,
great-
and he's left Piggy
great
for
one.
dead.
Great restart from Keyboard Magnussen, pulling away heavily, but then again he's gonna have to push a bit more to pull the gap over Piggy if he doesn't want him to get a DRS. Piggy closes the gap almost immediately, so there's a good pace. Chunk of
Well,
pace
he burned ERS. Woo! He burned ERS to do that. He burned through 25% of his ERS, and Gurla wasting no time on those on that fresh rubber. Piggy gets 3 seconds.
So the podium fight is
But
getting tighter.
here's the thing though. I know that you're saying like what's their strategy for going on, you know, for staying on the mediums, but you've got to remember that as Piggy spins out there, everyone else is on hard compound tires, which are the slower tire. As Piggy is falling back down the order.
But then again, in about 2 laps, these tires will be a big issue. Look at Piggy right now, struggling already with these used mediums as he just dropped a couple of positions.
But whether that was, the question is whether that was a question of tire wear or lack of temperature.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
You know, if Piggy just didn't get the heat in the tires, then of course he's going to go all over the place. Crystals, meanwhile, is battling with Verch, who are very close in the championship. That's the battle for P6. And up at the front, Crawley is under attack from bashing wheels with Basco. It's like watching watching Ben-Hur, the chariot race. Good
Basco.
lord!
Cheeky.
Can you imagine if they had flipping Bodicea wheel spikes on these F1 cars? That'd be a show and a half.
Yeah,
As Crawley,
absolutely.
underneath the rear wing of Basco, thinks better of it on this occasion.
I just
Meanwhile, at the
realized
back-
they still haven't fixed the safety car glitch. We can still see safety car icon in the left top
Yeah,
corner. And
that's
Piggy is struggling again out of the corner, slipping one more time, going ghost mode, and now dropping 2 positions. Piggy.
I'm wondering if
is
he's
on
got a
an
connection
absolute
issue then.
nightmare.
Maybe that's why he's spinning out so much.
Could
Maybe
be
he's
the
got a connection
case,
issue.
Yeah, that's weird.
But he's down to P7 and everyone just seems to be funneling away through. But the tires seem to be holding up decently. I mean, Gurla is now trying to get past Keyboard Magnussen, but doesn't manage to do so. Magnussen showing that the mediums are still decent for a wee while at least. And I suppose his logic is, well, if I can take these to a little bit longer, I'll be in a much better shape at the end. As Piggy now loses a place to Delta further on back
And
there.
hasn't.
And Keyboard, Basco and Crawley
Larson
in
as
battle
well?
once again.
Larson no, but Piggy is down to P9 and just looks like he's gonna keep on losing those positions.
Basco is out of ERS. Crawley's going on the outside and gets ahead of him. Basco had burned everything in the defense against the Ferrari, and the Ferrari moves up to P3.
Yeah, and Gurla's gonna go for a lead. Possibly he does have a DRS right now, has some battery to spare, but he refuses to make an overtake attempt on Keyboard Magnussen. And Crystals picks up a 3-second penalty as well. The penalties just keep on flying in. And this might play a huge part at the end of the race for some drivers, especially those in the top right now.
Props to Keyboard Magnussen for holding up Gurla and the others so much. I mean, he's very experienced on the keyboard, the most experienced driver I know on the keyboard. It still says yellows in Sector 1, but oh, now it's clear. Now the glitch is finally gone. You sense it's only a matter of time for Gurla to get past, but I think Keyboard Magnussen is honestly just having a bit of fun here. He knows he's on a different strategy. He knows that he's in a different race, so he's just trying to stay ahead, use the clear track to his advantage. Gurla now, do they have a think into the hairpin? No, braking early. In fact, they're actually...
Ooh, down the inside.
That's a very brave move if he makes that work. And Gurla now surely will have the ERS, surely will have the DRS and the power to get past. Keyboard Magnussen is charging, and Gurla does get through. But Keyboard didn't make it easy for her, or him, sorry.
Yeah, Keyboard blew a whole lot of battery right now.
Basco
down to 30. Ooh, Basco with an overtake again on Crowley 4. He's going to keep his position.
Crystal's down the inside. That's a very late lunge. That's onto the curb.
Oh,
how did he hold that line? Crystal's losing the rear over the curb. And now Verge wants in on this action as well. That's the worst camera angle possible. Yeah. Cameraman. Oh no, Verge makes contact with Crawley.
Ooh. And Red Bull gets a free second time penalty as well. The question is, did he have enough space? The game says he didn't, because if he gets a penalty for leaving the track, that's a penalty because that just didn't fit himself on the track. So
that's Verge's own fault. He made an ambitious move and it didn't pay off. That's his own fault, to be quite honest. Basco gets ahead of Keyboard Magnussen now, who is dropping the places.
Yeah,
the mediums seem to be just hitting their limit now. It is approaching just under half race distance, so it makes sense.
As well, from the left, Keyboard just can't do much more than that. He might try to defend against Crystals.
He's compromised the line, though. He'll not have a good run out of here.
No. There he goes.
And Crawley as well. But he will get DRS, I think, will Keyboard Magnussen. He does, but he's out of ERS. He's burning everything here just to have a bit of fun.
Keyboard Magnussen, I would pit about right now, because what more can you do? Sure, you get a DRS for a couple of more laps, but you're just putting yourself in a difficult spot, because you could just go for a pit, get some fresh tires, and just keep racing after them right now. Struggling hard, slipping and sliding, trying to...
I mean, you say that, but he's...
Contact. Oh, he's trying so hard.
Basco, really?
And Basco saves the position.
That was a little bit naughty from Basco, I think. He sort of turned in a bit there. Obviously not happy with his pace at the minute, because he's lost out to Crystals, who is already a second clear. The McLaren driver, Basco, really struggling at this stage on these compound tyres, as Piggy gets a 3-second penalty, and Crawley now all over the back of Keyboard Magnussen. I'm sorry we're talking over each other, but there's action up and down the field right now. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all. As
trying to find some space on him, but refuses to go for a move just about yet. But look at Keyboard Magnussen pace dropping significantly for the past 2 laps. Those mediums are dead right now for him. Piggy down to P14, didn't even mention him for quite a while. He's down so much. And Keyboard Magnussen is no example, because right now he's still losing this time, and this should be a matter of time before Crowley Voice gets the job done on Keyboard Magnussen as well. Still holding on thanks to DRS, but the Ferrari driver is significantly faster than that Kick Sauber at the moment.
Still holding on. I mean, the thing is that Keyboard Magnussen is still 1 position better than he was before the safety car. So he's taking these tyres on longer. I know he still has to pit, but if that means he's guaranteed a 1 stop, whereas others may have to make another stop, that's a huge boon, because I mean, think about how early everyone pitted onto the hards. You know, the hards if the hards do make it, they're going to be absolutely dead by the end. So Magnussen may be in a position to come back here later in the race, and he's certainly doing a good job of holding his line now. Crawley Voice tried to get the over and under there on Magnussen, but just compromised his own line. Delta has now called up. I get the feeling Keyboard will maybe pit this lap, if not the next one.
Maybe just
as we watch
out for a possible safety car to just try to get free pit stop. This could be the case at any point in the race, but it's going to be a wild prediction if he goes for a random safety car. And that's what he's building a strategy on. This is going to be a wild one.
We're watching we're watching on board with Delta to get a better view of this battle of Crawley and Magnussen, and Crawley going to the outside now, and does get ahead. even before the DRS line, but the DRS will secure that position. And will Delta pip this lap? No, he doesn't. He's still going on. That's interesting, to say the least. What else is happening? The two Williams, Hallinan and Wesley, having their own little private kerfuffle. Along with the...
Makovic in the first row watching this whole show going on ahead of him.
It's Futuristic gets 3 seconds. If I had a penny for every 3-second penalty I'd have, I'd be a millionaire by the end of this race.
Absolutely. Full in the pits, and it's going to be a basic stop from soft tires onto a new fresh pair of softs. So.
They only lasted 7 laps. That's
Yeah.
So, but what I want to try and do is try and use that to work out how long the other tires are going to last as Keyboard Magnussen falls back a bit now. So, 7 laps for the softs. If the hards last double that, and Magnussen is showing that they are dropping off pace, having gone 16 laps. Let's say 14 laps at their good pace for the mediums. If you extrapolate that by the logical amount, hard should last what, 21 laps, maybe a bit more, 25? That's not going to be enough for them to get to the end. I think a lot of these guys will have to do another stop.
Ooh, Crowley Voice getting up into P3.
There's Crystals.
Ferrari jumping out of Busco.
Sorry, Crystals takes the lead, and as you said, Crowley Voice has taken 3rd from Basco. Larson and Futuristic also in battle there. Keyboard Magnussen with another 3-second penalty.
Come on.
I give him credit. It's hard not to go slightly offline when you're on a bloody keyboard of all things. So credit where it's due, but unfortunately the stewards don't take keyboards into the removal of penalties.
Yeah, most likely.
Settling down a little bit here now. So I mean that's the main thing we've got to think about strategy. But I genuinely think that some drivers may want to do a second stop, and if that's the case, then Keyboard Magnussen could be in a prime position to jump up the order a little bit. Now the only thing of course is if they do another stop, the hard runners may go to a set of softs or just to another set of mediums. It's hard to tell, but we're watching the two Alpines at the minute because of course despite being teammates, these two are the leaders, they're fighting for the championship right now. So, and Gerla wants to make amends. Crystals just immediately took 25 points.
Yeah, the Yamakovic hits the wall, but it keeps it going and no possible safety car right now.
Yep. As I was saying, Crystals just basically showed up on their first week in SLR and took the win and took 25 points out of their teammate. So there's I'm sure there's a great deal of respect between the two drivers, but there's also obviously a lot up for grabs here. Crystals, of course, does have that penalty as Keyboard Magnussen finally pits after 17 laps on those mediums. I mean,
might have been a bit too long for him.
Crystals does have the 3-second penalty to contend with, so Gerla doesn't have to be that aggressive, but obviously not leaving anything to chance. Especially after DNFing on the final lap last time out, anything can happen. Spit the brakes out, start again. I can't say it! Fananana, there you go. Fananana sets the fastest lap of the race on the soft, unsurprisingly. So, let's see. I am still just trying to work this all out, so as we'll watch Basco, because he's the closest on track.
Crowley Williams against Vertier in Red Bull, as the Williams boys are trying to make some overtakes on the Red Bull driver.
Well spotted. Piggy gets another 3 seconds, and as soon as I look away, Basco and Crowley make a move. What a... Every time we move the camera away, can you two just behave?
Yeah. They're gonna swap each other positions for a while.
Oh, we got yellows.
Ooh,
is someone in the wall?
He must have done something near the wall of champions. He was on the left side of the track though, so might have just been a bump alongside Delta. He's down to P6, a bit further away from Delta, and now the V-carbs are coming in as Larson and Futuristic are sitting right at the back of the Red Bull.
Oh, that was over the grass for Verch.
Struggling heavily. What was that about? He's struggling heavily, and Larson surely gonna put him under pressure right now.
Yeah. Speaking of under pressure, Crawley wants that 3rd place back. That's Vesley and Verch. This is Verch, the other Red Bull. He's in battle with the Williams, so it's one Red Bull's up against the Williams, the other Red Bull's up against the V-Carbs. And does Verch have damage? I thought he had... Yes, he does. The front right end plate's missing on Verch's car. Or not Verch's, how do we differentiate these two? As Wesley loses the rear, we just called that slip and slide there. He does manage to gain control of the car. And actually, somehow, despite not doing anything, Hallinan gets ahead of Virchi. Basco and Crawley also swapping positions. It's just down that back straight with the DRS. But these two have been dueling all race long so far. And Gurla, I think, realizing that their teammate has a penalty, is just settling into a bit more of a rhythm here, not doing any moves, not doing any attacking. And Crystal's maybe realizing, says, look, I'll save my battery, save my tires until near the end when I do need to pull away. Looking down the rest of the grids, the two Williams that are keeping each other company right now in 9th and 10th, as Wesley gives us a little bit of a burnout and slight tail drift there.
Yeah, Larson's trying to push on Verge, but so far I haven't found a spot in the opening to make a move on the Red Bull driver, but most likely gonna do it anytime soon. He gets a DRS, as he's still pushing hard behind.
We got
Verge.
yellow sector 1, that is...
Sauber, and that's who?
Fanana.
Yeah, Tuna was
And Magnetic as well, having a moment there, so... does Fananana have a... Yeah, Fananana, that's how you say it. Fananana must have spun out because he's losing the rears everywhere. The rears must be overheating. He's spinning up everywhere, and he'll better be careful not to take out Piggy in the process.
And Larson finally made a move on Verge up into P6. The V-Card has finally done an overtake, and now has to be careful.
Verge coming back at him though.
Attack. Can he do it? Not quite yet.
No, they're both out of ERS, 5 and 10% respectively, and that leaves Futuristic with 84% of ERS. He's just gonna bide his time and try and catch up. Delta, meanwhile, has fallen back into the clutches of this trio as well.
Yeah, that was definitely not on his bucket list right now. He saved some of his battery, but this is sure not gonna pay off for the fact that now he's gonna have 3 cars on his tail, so he's gonna have to be careful about this one. This could be a possible risk of losing a couple of places in the near future.
Indeed. Yes, it's finally settling down a little bit. Some small battles happening here and there, as we see, with Verge trying to go up the inside. That now becomes the outside. He forced Futuristic a bit wide there. I don't think Futuristic and Larson, I don't think Larson will be too thrilled with how he did that. Comes back at him.
On the outside.
Last of the late breakers.
Yes, he did. Nice one from Larson.
But he may regret that because Verge will be thinking, thank you very much, you've given me DRS. Oh no, he didn't.
True.
Verge was ahead in the DRS zone.
Futuristic does have a great one from Larson, giving himself a position up, and his teammate as well, because he didn't give a DRS to Red Bull. So now Futuristic made an easy pass. Well done. The V-Car boys are gaining positions.
I think Verge will be very confused by that. He'll thinking I was behind. How did I not get DRS? Yeah. But Larson now looking to, as Wesley gets 3 seconds of time penalties, Larson now looking to catch up to Delta, who has dropped back from the leading pair. Well, I say the leading pair. It was the top 4, but now, excuse me, the top 4 have, the top 2 have pulled away from the second 2. So Crystals and Gurla having their own battle, Basco and Crawley having their own battle, and then we have this trio in behind. We've got yellow sector 2.
Ooh, that's Verge.
Verge.
That's going to be a big one for him as he goes down to P9 behind the Williams of Halinan, and he's now going to be under pressure from.
I'm noticing a lot more. I'm noticing a lot of spins. I'm wondering if tire wear is worse than the guys thought. That's where I have my theory that maybe those ones changing the hards will have to do another stop. Maybe not so much Crystals and Gurla, they're sort of just going at their own pace, but Basco and Crawley, with the amount of battling they're doing, surely their hards are burning away right now. And there's still 11 laps to go. We're only just hit 2/3 race distance. As Larson does get past Delta on the DRS straight into the braking zone, Delta will try and come back at him, will he not, but doesn't have DRS on this occasion. And has no response to the power of the DRS. Oh no! Futuristic locks up the rears. As Crawley gets 3 seconds of penalties. Futuristic locked up the rears. Somehow keeps it in a straight line. As Keyboard Magnussen now sets the fastest lap on medium tires. Oh no, that's Delta Zeron in the wall. See, you see what I mean there with my point? There's a lot more errors coming in that seem to be more to do with lack of grip than anything else.
And Delta does have a front wing damage, you can see.
He has front wing damage now, he didn't before, but these mistakes starting to crop in, and we're seeing it with the penalties and running wide. I don't think the tyres will last. Something to keep an eye on. As Keyboard Magnussen, on the fresh rubber, gets past Delta.
And yeah, Verge is most likely also going to make a move on the Haas driver any time now as they're heading into the hairpin. Could he possibly do him? Oh, a bit too late on the braking, just a small bump from the Red Bull driver. to a Haas, but he's still going to keep his position. Oh, a bit of slip up from Verge as well. So,
See, there's just no grip on those rears. The hards are dying.
Yeah, the pit stops should be coming about right now.
Meanwhile, Keyboard Magnussen on his fresh mediums, like I said, is laughing all the way to the points bank. He's up to P7.
Yeah,
Now, whether his will last to the end remains to be seen, but he's having a fine time right now. As Verge gets past Delta.
I don't think Keyboard will be able to get these cars to the finish line all the way through, or unless in a good condition. So
I mean, but here's the thing: if he has to pit, surely so does everyone else. If the mediums aren't going to make it from his distance, then the hards are never going to make it. See, there's more drivers going down that curve. They have no grip right now. Now, whether it's a graining phase or not, I don't know, but it's surprising to see so many errors. And speaking of errors, it says it in the penalties. So far, Gurla, Basco, Larson, Hallinan, and Magnetic and Fananana, only 6 drivers do not have a penalty.
Yeah, and
out of 17 runners, 6 of them do not have a penalty.
Yeah, and they might pick some up because, like you said, the tires are getting much worse, so that could also lead to possible slip-ups in the corners and then having some track-length variations done along the way. So
Crowley and Basco do another position swap. But just looking at the delta times, because the it compares it to, like, you know, their best laps. I've just been seeing their delta times going down by at least half a second. What the hell's going on in the midfield? Oh, Delta's going into the pits. That's what's happening. So Delta has pitted after 16 laps on the mediums. Hallinan and Verts are battling. Verts with half a front wing, as Hallinan goes round the outside and keeps P8. I wonder why the positions were jumping around. That was because the pit lane, of course, cuts the final corner, so it registers as the driver going ahead, and then as they get through the chicane, they fall back behind. Vert's literally pushing Hallinan into the corner there. Dives to the inside. Surely will not have the grip minus front wing, and indeed doesn't. Vert appears to be getting really frustrated here.
Yeah, but I mean, is there a reason, even if he does pass his Hallinan, what's good it's going to be for him? Keyboard Magnussen picking up another penalty. My brother in Christ, he could have had such a good race, but now he seems to be having what?
He's on a keyboard. Give my boy some slack.
Still, 9 seconds. I mean,
let's see you do better.
I'm absolutely not going to. That's why I'm not going to count for my mistakes. That's why I can sit here and laugh at them, because they can laugh at me.
This is why you're the David Croft and I'm the Martin Brundle. One of us could hop in this car and do a job.
Absolutely, and the other one can be a laughing stock on national TV.
Well, I mean, David Croft is anyway, so what are you on about? Is Vert boxes. So we are seeing some more of the hard runners pitting. Hallinan has spun out and hit the wall.
Ooh.
He's keeping it going, though, but he's lost those places. Let's see, what else? Basco has fallen back even more. Verts retires. He's had enough.
Ooh.
He retired in the pits. He's had enough. He's done.
Okay, so he's just done with this one. So it's gonna
and what on earth is going on in the midfield? Yamakovic has spun out somewhere and lost places. So did Magnetic somewhere. Again, the camera sort of lied to me on where everything is. I genuinely don't know what's happening right now. So we've got half a Red Bull left because he's missing his front wing. Or part of his front wing anyway. We've got time penalties, enough time penalties to make a driver start at the back of the grid from this track in the next round. Basco and Crawley can't decide which of them is the husband and wife in their relationship. And the 2 Alpines are on a summer holiday out the front.
Yeah.
Have I covered everything?
Mostly, yeah, sure. I mean, Ocean Chief is trying to close the gap towards Wesley in Williams, but again, he does have a DRS, so this shouldn't be much of a problem. But even if he does, the Williams will surely fight back as Delta Zeron makes a move on Riyad Yamakovic in Mercedes, who goes down to P14.
And he gets a 3-second penalty.
Ooh, huge.
Oh.
Haas, chucking his half of his wing away from that Haas, and thus means Riyad Yamakovic is still in the fight for his position.
I'm not going to lie, you mentioned Ocean Chief, and I kind of forgot he was even in this race, as Crawley now falls behind again. Can you two make up your minds? Like, come, oh! Crawley voice smashes into the back of Basco. Well, I say smashes, it's a bump. It was a sizable bump.
How long with the first 3-second penalties? So the only ones without the penalties right now are only Gurla, Basco, Larson, Magnetic, and Fana.
We're down to 5. Jeez. I guarantee, I think we'll only have 3 drivers without penalties by the end of this race.
Could be the case.
Because that was definitely a track limits warning for Crawley. He cut that first chicane like nobody's business.
Yeah,
I
most
saw that.
likely. Nice. Thankfully, you're not the FIA. Keyboard
As
Magnussen
Keyboard
makes it
Magnussen,
look like a
that was
feature.
it. That was
Oh,
oh.
he's gonna retire. He's gonna retire.
No,
He
that
doesn't
I
care.
saw what happened there. He made an overtake with DRS and Futuristic on the inside, cut across Futuristic, and dove into the pits.
He's in the race. He's still gonna keep going.
He's
with
gone to the
how
softs
many
because
penalties
why
now?
not? As Futuristic
19
spins.
seconds. Jesus.
Futuristic spins. The hards are dying, and Magnussen has said, "Here we go, overtake challenge, boys."
Yeah. I mean, he might overtake, but he's got 19 seconds worth of penalties. He's
here to have fun.
That's the best part, because it's only 6 drivers away, 6 DNFs away from easy points, so he has to keep going for a possible pointing position, which is still realistic for him.
He's here to have fun. He know that's the joy of being a keyboard player. You know you're not going to be full on competitive, so you're here to have fun.
I mean, he was
Speaking
in the
of
beginning,
fun,
but then the penalties happened. And
sorry. Speaking of fun, Fun with the fastest lap of the race on the mediums, as Crawley Voice gets ahead of Basco. Like, these two are just going to battle every lap until the end. As Crawley Voice has, but I mean, Crawley Voice has a penalty. So
yeah, so maybe Crowley's just trying to push Basco to his limits to just basically just try to push him into a mistake, you know?
I mean, we've seen plenty of mistakes when the hards start losing their power. And these two have been battling non-stop. They must have worn those hards down, certainly more than the front two anyway, who are still keeping close company. Gurla just managing the gap, managing the pace, as Keyboard Magnussen begins his rampage and is immediately up to P9, getting past Magnetic and Verci. And he is on a rampage. I can hear, if you listen closely as the car goes by, you'll hear the Doomslayer music. Oh, I said managing the pace. What's happened there? Where's Crystals? Something's happened to Crystals. Crystals is 7 seconds down, has lost part of the front wing.
This must have spawned. Ooh.
Crystals must have made a mistake and hit the wall, so Gurla does take the lead. And now Crawley Voice has just arrived and said, "I smell a podium," as he power slides through the hairpin.
Absolutely.
And
Basco's
Basco.
well, Basco's right behind him.
Okay, I said we were hearing stuff. Crystals will now be hearing. The bloomin' seagulls from Finding Nemo in his rearview mirrors. Mine.
Crystals is staying out though.
I mean, what choice does he have? He's going to lose so many places if he takes a pit stop.
Yeah, but can he hold on to this position at least on the podium? Yellow flag.
Yellows. That's a Mercedes. That's Jarnakovic going the wrong way.
Yes.
No safety car or anything though.
No.
And Crawley.
Go.
I mean, the gap is 2 seconds and sort of stable at the minute, to be honest, because Crawley and Basco are too busy battling each other.
Yeah, this might benefit Crystals. Then again, Crawley Voice and Basco should react to this and be like, okay, let's just dig our war axe for a second right here and focus on the guy ahead of us.
Crawley Voice's rear end is looser than the whales you pick up on Tinder on a Saturday night.
Yeah, 22 laps old hards. That is
Everyone's
definitely
on
a struggle
22 lap
to say
old,
the
but these are
least.
22 lap old hards that have been battling as well.
Yeah,
like every
that's
single lap.
incredible between Basco and Crowley. And
Yellow
Yamaha
sector
is driving in
3,
the
that's
pit lane.
Rajakovic again, or Rajakovic,
the
sorry,
pit
that's a tennis
lane.
player, isn't it?
Fine.
Jamakovic, I should say, who retires in the pit lane, so there'll be no danger there.
Yeah, so in the
And-
current situation, Basco is most likely going to head for a possible P2 finish. So despite the fact Crowley and Basco are battling the whole race, it's going to be most likely Crowley against Crystals for a possible last step on the podium, unless something crazy is going to happen down the finish of the race.
I mean, we all saw last time out that anything can happen. Gurla blew up on the last lap, normally a very calm and accomplished driver. Surely, though, with being in first, they're going to be a bit more careful. But never say never in Formula 1. The great Murray Walker, whom I learned everything from, watching anyway, as he once said, anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. Speaking of anything happening, a keyboard player is decimating every player around him. He's now up to P7. As Wesley shows us shows us Williams' new Formula Drift car.
Actually, Keyboard still is technically is in the race for points. If he just pulls away right now heavily and overtakes Futuristic, goes for a possible or longer run on those softs, he still might actually cling himself right there just up into pointing position. This could be the case. By the way, Larson, we haven't talked about him enough in this race because, of course, he didn't have the most amount of side-by-side racing, but he actually gained 15 positions.
Yeah,
since the
Larson.
beginning of the
Oh,
race, and he's still
Crystals,
pushing
what's happened to Crystals? Crystals lost 2 places.
Oof, Crystals. What
And Crystals was ghosted. I don't know what happened there, but it seemed like Basco went through him.
Whoa. Might have hit the wall if he was ghosted. Anyway, Crystals is down to P4. This leaves a huge door open for...
He's missing the other part. I'm sorry, I've just noticed he's missing both end plates.
Oh yeah, so he must have hit the wall on the left.
He's got even more damage.
But Crowley picks up another penalty. Was it Crowley or Keyboard? I thought it was Crowley.
I think it was both of them. I think Crowley popped up first and then Keyboard. I'll check the...
Yes, it was both of them.
It was, yep. So, Basco is looking at P2. And do you know what?
Yeah,
if Crystals can't find some pace, then Larson could be looking to snatch P4.
Absolutely. I mean, oof. Crystals is having an absolutely awful time trying to keep the car on the track. So Crystals is looking absolutely horrible right now. So Larson, the game is on. The ball is in your hands. Do whatever you want to do with it. What is he going to do right now with 7 seconds behind Crystals?
Who does have a penalty as well.
Yeah,
so the gap would need to be less than 4 seconds. Sorry, less than 3 seconds. Sorry, what am I on about?
Yeah.
So the gap needs to be less than 3 seconds. The gap is currently 6.5 with 2 to go. Ironically, though, I think the extra damage as Halanan and Ocean Chief do battle. I think the extra gap is actually, the extra front wing damage is actually kind of helping Crystals here, because I know he's missing, a lot of downforce on the front, but at least it's equal loss of downforce now, rather than one side pulling the other. He's got an even share of downforce on either side of the car.
I wouldn't say so. He's still losing the advantage. He was about 6.5 ahead of Larson right at the beginning of the lap, and right now after second one, he's only 5 seconds out of him.
I mean that's the only blessing, is aside from the chicanes, Canada is a very straight line heavy track, so if Crystals can keep it smooth through the corners, maybe there's a chance they can hold on to 4th place.
4.6. I don't think he's gonna save it.
There's going to be one more to go after this. And Larson, we don't know how many warnings Larson is on as well, whether he gets a penalty on the final lap, So far
it's looking good for the...
But yeah, shoutouts to Larson for moving up 15 places. Equally shoutouts to Keyboard Magnussen for somehow getting nearly 20 seconds worth of penalties and not being disqualified.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's still pushing P6.
And shoutouts to Fananana, Larson so far, Basco and Gurla, who are the only 4 drivers not to have penalties. As Futuristic nearly rear-ends Magnussen. What on earth is going on here? There's been less of a race and more of a demolition derby, to be honest.
It is the final lap of the Canadian Grand Prix with Gurla on his way to a victory. Hopefully this time he won't make a silly mistake like he did last time in Belgium.
Don't curse it, don't curse it. You saw what I did to the McLarens.
As Basco is heading for that P2, and the battle for podium is still on between Crowley, Crystals, and Larson, as we have yellow flags in the back. That was somebody going a bit off.
I don't think Crystals is really in with a share of the podium anymore, but Larson is within 3 seconds of Crystals and looking to snatch that P4. That would be a welcome haul of points for the V-Carb team.
Yeah, but can you reach the Crowley voice penalty range? You'd have to be underneath 6 seconds behind him. Most likely not going to do it. Futuristic.
No, you'd have to find another 3 seconds in this final sector.
Yeah, the only 3 drivers remaining with no penalties are Gurla, Larson, 4 drivers. Gurla, Basco, Larson.
Crowley gets ahead, but it's not going to mean much. But what will mean something is Gurla taking the win and 25 points back to their name. Crowley Voice will cross the line in second, but Basco will take second on the podium. Crowley Voice will have to settle for third. Crystals will cross the line in P4, but it's going to be Larson who moves up 16 places, swerving across the line to finish P4.
Where's Keyboard Magnussen going to finish? What position is he going to be after finishing P6? Might be one of the biggest downgrades on the finish line we've seen.
What was he, 19 seconds of penalties? Hang on, let me do some quick maths here. So maybe P12, maybe P13, I don't know.
P7, let's see.
Hold on, here we go. Down.
Let's get him.
Down.
Let's get him. Still in the point.
Down. Down.
Come on, 12.
And Piggy's spinning out across the line.
Piggy spins and crashes, so he's going to be finishing.
And actually finishes behind Fananana.
P13.
And Delta bringing up the rear. The only car still in one piece, it looks like. And 3 seconds on the final corner just to say screw you to the Marshals. There you go.
Jesus Christ, what a race we had. To say we had a couple of penalties would be an understatement. We had a sea of penalties and small victories.
Now might be a good time to tell the drivers that they have to pay the commentators a tenner for every penalty they get. So pay up, lads, come on. I accept PayPal or credit card. But yeah, there you go. There's the positions. So Gurla, our winner at the minute, 8 seconds clear of Basco, Crawley Voice in 3rd, Larson 4th, Crystals 5th, Futuristic 6th, Wesley 7th, Magnetic 8th, Ocean Chief 9th, and Halanan getting the final point in 10th. The rest of your finishers, Verci, Fananana, Keyboard Magnuson, Piggy, Delta, and then your DNFs, Yarnakovic, Verch, Smelto, AR Gamer, and Ever Snacks a Lottle.
Yeah,
And if we just have a look at the instance in the... Yes, the list is still going. Yes, it's still going. There you are. We run a clean league here, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
So,
dear.
could
It
be
was
a
entertaining
Larson
nonetheless.
going From P20 all the way up into P4 without picking the penalty, which was not a common thing today, would be most likely most obvious pick for driver of the day tonight. I mean, SLR Larson, what a drive from him. P20 at the beginning, P4 at the end. No penalty, despite the fact almost everyone had one. Yeah, Larson, great drive of the night. In my opinion, the best one.
There we go. I think I'd agree with the driver of the day as well. The game said it was Larson. I probably agree. Not just because they went up 16 places, but they pretty much kept it clean the whole race, which is more than can be said for a lot of people. Yes, they had a penalty, but...
I hope you're going to rewatch the stream and realize that we just said the same thing one each other.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I did.
I have everything turned down to try and eliminate any potential
Yeah,
echoes,
no.
so...
Okay. Are we going to have any interviews here tonight? Because we surely have some questions, especially for guys like Crystals about...
no one in the room yet.
Well, they might come sooner or later. Let's wait a bit longer. I mean, surely we want to hear from Crystals what happened there. We would want to hear from Keyboard Magnuson. Why is he picking up more penalties than positions today? I mean, this could be argued. He had a lot of overtakes, but still.
I also want to
we would
hear
love
from the
to
other
know
McLaren
from
because he was upside
Yeah.
down in the barrier somehow.
Absolutely, and also Larson. I mean, his whole race. So we have plenty of questions to a lot of drivers. Then again, anybody who wants to just talk here with us will surely get his chance once he joins the interview section. Let's take a look at the calendar, what's gonna be in stock for us next time we go racing. Of course, there's still Tier 1 race for the Canadian Grand Prix, but next week it's gonna be Miami. So we're heading to the USA for the first time this season. We're gonna have 2 races in the US this season. One of them is gonna be Miami next week, and then round 9 will take place in Austin, Texas. So Miami, a difficult track surely, with a lot of walls being close to the edge of the track. We had a lot of penalties today. We might have a lot of damage next week in Miami. That is only a theory, Formula 1 theory, but yeah. So
No one in the interviews yet, though. I think maybe they're all a bit stressed out after that race as well, so maybe
Come
just
on,
letting themselves
Gurla-
cool down a bit before they join.
Gurla is putting people to shame after he had an interview after what happened in Belgium. So if anybody doesn't want to talk about their race after Gurla had the cojones to talk with us about the Belgium incident, then anybody should have them. Of course, nobody is forced into anything. Maybe they just don't feel like it. Understandable, absolutely. In that case, we're probably gonna be slowly but surely wrapping it up.
Oh,
And
wait,
as
hang
I'm
on.
saying,
Oh,
Gurla
Gurla has joined the room.
Let's get him.
And we're getting some more. Who? Fedevera. I really wish they would
No,
match up their Discord
Crystals.
names to the... That's Crystals.
Yes, so we got Gurla in the lobby. Hello, Gurla.
I am sorting some
Hello.
stuff. Sorry, Punk, so I'll let you take over the interviews there.
Okay. So, talk us through the race, because surely that was a quite heavy improvement from the last one. You picked up pole, if I'm correct, and you delivered the finish almost a 1-2 with your teammate. This time it was just a victory for you, but must have been a great ride for you here today in Canada.
Yeah, I did not pick up pole. That was Basco. He did
okay,
a
Basco.
great lap in the wet. But I was second, and the whole time I was like playing with Crystals, so we could get an advantage as a team. And I made the move on Basco in lap 2, I think, or 3. And yeah, then the safety car came. We were not entirely sure if we should pit both at the same time or not. We ended up pitting at the same time. Then Crystals made a great recovery to go back into second, and then his pace was like so good. Crystals, I couldn't. If we're fighting, I wouldn't ever overtake him. He just had the mega pace, and he carried me to the victory basically, because I just stayed on his DRS the whole race, and yeah, he carried me to the victory basically.
Yeah, okay. So, was the strategy to basically carry you to the victory was decided after he got a penalty, or basically it was just like, let's work together, we're gonna see who's gonna be faster, and then we'll decide somewhere along the race which direction we want to head into this one? Was the penalty like the reason for the cooperation heading a bit more into your favor?
Well, we didn't discuss that. When he overtook me, I could straight away understand that he had such a big advantage of pace, and he already had the 3 seconds when he overtook me. So I just thought to myself, well, all I need to do is just keep going behind him. And if he didn't have the 3 seconds, he probably would have won the race if he didn't crash, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't discuss who we were gonna favor because he obviously had the 3 seconds, so I was just gonna stay behind him the whole race.
Okay.
There was no
Were
point for
you-
me fighting.
Yeah, sure. Were you feeling under pressure from anybody at all in the at least beginning of the race? Because we know that later on you had a pretty big advantage over the rest of the grid, but in the beginning we had some fight between McLarens, there was a Ferrari. So did you felt underneath oppression from anybody at any point in the race, or was it one of those chill races where you were just like, okay, let's go for the win, bam, 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 we won, easy, let's wrap it up, go next? What do you feel about this one?
No, I think it was pretty tight. At the beginning, Basco was super fast. Crawley and sorry, I forgot. Smelto as well. And Verge, I think as well, was there for a bit. I don't know. He DNF'd later. I don't know why, but he was also fast. And to be honest, if I didn't, the moment that I kind of took the race more chill was when I let Crystal through, and I saw he had like this amazing pace, and I just kept going with his DRS, and I just saw the gaps from behind just increasing and increasing. And so from that point, I was like, please no safety car, so we can take this home. Unfortunately, he span close to the end, which is very unfortunate for him. But yeah.
Yeah, so Gurla, next week is the Miami Grand Prix, one of the 2 rounds in the USA. So how do you feel about the Miami track? Are you a fan? Are you a hater? Are you in the middle? What do you feel about this one?
I'd say I'm a fan, not a big fan, but I'd say I'm a fan. But to be honest, last week I said I didn't like Canada and I won, so maybe I don't
Maybe
know.
that's one way of winning the races. We'll see about this one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
so thank you for your time, Gurla. Congratulations on your race victory. Good luck next week, and hopefully we're gonna see you and hear from you next time as well on the next Grand Prix.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Thank you. And we also have Crystals in an interview section waiting to join us, and we're surely gonna have some questions for him. So, Crystals, hello, are you with us?
Yeah, yeah.
So, talk me through I would want to say incident, but there were actually incidents. What happened the first one and the second one? What happened?
Yeah, just a disaster, I think. Well, the first one, it was just, I don't know, I think I took the grass with my right rear, and I just spun, basically, which led me to have a red wing on the right. And then the second one, I don't know what, the Crowley tried to, yeah, he just tried to pass me. I didn't move, and he tried to go on yeah, where there wasn't any space. He just could have, gone in the inside and overtook me, but no, I decided to go, yeah, around the outside. There wasn't literally any space, but yeah, that led me to to full red wing. So yeah, that was it.
Okay, so you think that the FIA might shift the results a bit if you were going to report this incident with Crawley voice, or do you feel like it's not gonna change too much?
I don't know, like I'm gonna see, the footage a little bit later. I'm just, a little bit chilling because yeah, right now I'm just yeah a little bit, frustrated. But yeah,
Yeah,
I see it. But yeah,
understand.
I think I'm gonna report it. I don't know. I see later. That.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, Alpines do tends to have a bit of mishaps at the end of the race, and this series unfortunately continues here tonight with this incident. But yeah, hopefully you can just catch a break at some point, because surely that's going to be needed, especially in a track that is Miami, where the walls are close, very close to the track. So, what do you feel about Miami? Do you feel like you could perform well there as well, or do you think that this is going to be one of the worst ones? What do you feel about Miami?
I know, I'm pretty bad at Miami to be honest. I don't like the track at all. But we'll see, you know. Also for Canada, I didn't really feel comfortable. But there
Hmm.
was the pace to win, you know. So
Yeah,
we'll
Gurla
see.
said that if you wouldn't have crashed today, would have surely won because you are faster than him.
Yeah, I don't know about that because also when I had the 3 seconds of penalty, we
And
just
without a
tried.
penalty, yeah.
Yeah, with
Just like
yeah,
a pure
yeah,
pace.
it just I don't know because to be honest, also he had a very good pace he had, and then you know you got like 3 DRS straight, so it was very difficult to get
Hmm.
away.
Hmm.
So I don't really know. Like I think
Okay.
for the when he was behind me, was just just recovering his DRS, and yeah, it's a track where it's very difficult to get away. But I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, just congrats to him. You know, he got the win, so he deserves it.
Okay, absolutely understandable. So, congratulations, the Alpine boys, on a good result. Again, Crystals had a bit of mishap, but still pretty decent result if you ask me in an SLR. And some big points for the Constructors' Championship as well. As we don't have anyone more in an interview section, I believe this would be it when it comes to interview segments. So, once again, thank you, Alpine boys, for sticking around with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week on the track as well and hear from you in interview section one more time. And I believe that this would be the wrap of the Canadian Grand Prix. That was the round 4 of season 15 of SLR. Then again, the Canadian Grand Prix is going to take place again in Tier 1 on Friday. And then next week we're going to head into Miami. I was CM Punk, the commentary guy on SLR, and my co-host for today was Lars.
You're my co-host. You know what way this works. Get down your pecking order.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but no, that was, as you said, that was round 4. That was incredibly exciting. Do you know what, we've done very well with the races this season, I have to say, so far. I don't think there's been what anyone would call a stinker of a race so far in this tier. It's been pretty action-packed throughout the whole thing, and hopefully, as you say, we'll get to see that next week. Although it is Miami, so take from that what you will. Um, I suppose just before we head then, since Crystals and Gorilla are still in the chat here, number one, what are you thinking about for Miami? You looking forward to it, or...
Wait, it just cost me. You didn't listen.
Oh, sorry, I was away. I apologize.
No, I just say no. I just say
You're not
it's
a fan
no
of it,
one.
and also,
No, no.
are you two? Give us a bit of insight in how this championship fight's going, because you are up near the top.
Yeah.
Are you in like the chat together? Do you go on strategies together, or is it just?
We're gonna search it together. Yeah.
So is there any bad blood in there, or like are you
No.
allowed to fight each other, or are you just?
Well, that's difficult, but I think like okay, so far like our focus is on constructors. But yeah, I think, but at the same time, I think from both sides, like if we can get actually the chance to fight, also for driver champions, we will both go for it. I think. But no, there is no bad blood at all between us.
Well, it all sounds very, very respectful. We'll see how long that respectfulness lasts as the season goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
But
it. We'll see you in Miami then, you two. And Punk, I will be back with you next week in Miami as well. So if we're all sorted then, we'll call it there. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. And as Punk said, tune in on Friday for the Tier 1 race. And we'll see you back here same day, same time, same bad channel for Miami. Until then, have a very good evening.